Hello and welcome to this week's video. So today I'm very pleased and excited to be looking at and unboxing my vintage 30-year-old Rubik Cube collection. So I'm absolutely stoked to be going through this video. I've got loads of stuff, loads more than I thought. And what's this here? An incomplete cube. I must do it while we're on camera, just to see if I've still got it. Have I still got it? Have I? Sit back, relax, and let's get to it. So then, let's have a look through my, 40-year-old Rubik Cube collection, or Rubik toy collection. So when the Rubik Cube got big in Britain, it was the late 70s, early 80s. So I was about 10 or 11, and I remember having this. This was my original one. Let's have a little look here, see if we can get in. Yeah, there we are. So this is the original leaflet that came with it, and this is the British one, of course, not the Hungarian. This one's actually dated 1980. This particular one, and hopefully this is nice and mint. Yeah, it is nice and stiff. And I remember first seeing Rubik Cubes in the UK on Noel Edmonds' Saturday morning swap shop. That was where I first saw them. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, I've got to get myself one of them. And it wasn't long before I did. What's this one here? So this is a Rubik's Cube, 25 years of the cube, that particular one. So there we go. Of course, the barrel came along later. And the spear one, the globe. I've got a couple of these. These I don't think are original. These just seem cheap and cheerful, but they've ended up in my sort of Rubik Cube collection. A couple of little like Diddy cubes. This was a just another sort of related puzzle. This is interesting. This is a Rubik's calendar. So I believe you could make. This was 1981, same sort of format as the Rubik's Cube. And I believe with this one, you could just make it so that if you knew how to do the cube, you could, of course, set the date each day. So you could give yourself a bit of a puzzle. No instructions with that one, but that's what you would do. So this one was last set up for Monday, January the 18th. So yeah, with a bit of, if you knew how to manipulate the pieces around, that's actually a really good idea, isn't it? That just to keep your mental dexterity going, I guess, you know. So that's pretty nice. So the calendar cube. Then these are see Doritos. I think these must be 90s ones, like a little promotional Doritos one. And there's another one there which is Walker's crisps. So they must sort of go hand in hand. Now this one I remember buying back in the day. So this is an early 80s one again. Obviously a bootleg. It's not an actual official Rubik Cube. It's a bootleg. And it's for E.T., the movie E.T. When was that? 1982, something like that. Thankfully, it's never been mixed up, because this would be awful to actually try and do. The box has actually fallen to bits on it. But wowee, look at that, an E.T. one. I guess there's probably not that many of those around. But looking at it, I'm wondering, because my dad had a fruit and veg shop when I was growing up, and he had a fruit cube with lots of different fruits on, and I can't find that. And I also seem to remember I had a Charles and Diana cube as well, and I can't see that in here either. So I wonder what's happened to them. This is my sort of go-to cube. This is the one I bought. It's not an ideal one, but I bought this one in France, and this is the one that I've sort of kept out on the side. I usually take a cube with me on holiday, of all things. I don't know why. This is my sort of go-to cube, as it were. So it's just the one I've used a lot as a kid. Magic snake. So I've got a couple of snakes. I mean, these weren't Rubik, but they came out around the same sort of time, and they were equally as much of a craze as the cubes, you might say. There's another little keyring cube here, little Diddy one. Yeah, another. This is a slightly more modern one, but it's also quite a handy cube to have. So this is like a backup, regular go-to cube, as it were. Another little sort of slidey puzzle thing. We got the 4x4s. So we got this chap here. Alas, he's not sealed, which is a shame, but it is an original 4x4 in really nice nick as well. It's really stiff and unused, that one. I do also have another one. I can do the 4x4. I've done it a few times, but I can't do it from memory, and I can't for the life of me remember how to get those two back round. But the 4x4, that's a bit of a tough challenge, that one. About the limit of my excellence with cubing. This is quite nice. Look at this. This is how retro is this? So I can do the cube. You know, this is a real early badge. I wonder if it's dated. It's not, but my heart says 1980, 81, something like that. I would have worn that badge with pride because I could do the cube when I was a kid. Here's another little promo one, which I haven't done, probably because it's so diddy and I've got such big hands. But this looks like it's for chunky Kit Kats. So it's a promo one for chunky Kit Kats. There's another one of these sort of folding puzzles. Yeah, they are what they are. They're just in the collection. I've still got loads more to show you. So this is one of the... what were these called again? Rubik's Magic, wasn't it? Yeah, so I've got a Rubik's Magic. And another one there. Another Rubik's Magic. Snakes. Another couple of snakes. I remember having this really big one here. I remember when I was a kid, this one here was absolutely enormous because my hands were so much smaller. So I remember that really well. Now I'm going to just move that all to one side to give me a bit of space for the next lot, because we've got some boxed bits and pieces Rubik related. Well, in fact, why don't we do these first, which is the Rubik Cube books and bits and bobs. So I guess the one that I learned how to do the cube on was this one from Patrick Bossart. Now, for me, the way that this was explained, I don't know why I've got two copies. The way it was explained was the easiest that I could understand. So his was the version sort of I went for. However, I used my own sort of way of doing the cube, where his method is do the top layer, do the four corners on the bottom, and then fill in the middle. I literally do the top layer, the middle layer, and then do the bottom on its own. I don't know anybody else who actually does it that way. And I know the kids today do it completely differently, and it's much, much quicker. This one here, Cubes by Banks. This is a Virgin book, and it's cartoons. It would have been a Christmas book of some sort. I doubt there's many of these around, to be honest. I'm an obsessive book collector. You only need to look at my channel. 1982, look at that. Early Virgin book. Making Rubik's Magic. There we are. So a book on Rubik's Magic there. Might need that in a minute to do those two. Rubik's Clock. Yes, I remember the clock. Cool, not very many pages, but how difficult can it be, I guess? Look. You could have written that solution on the back of a handkerchief. 1988. Can't imagine there's many of them around. I seem to remember this was a very popular book. It was everywhere. It was the Corgi one. And for some reason, again, I've got two of those. One's the British, one's the American version. So that's all that there is on that. Got another one here. This is Corgi again. Magic Snake Shapes. I always remember... there you are. So the Magic Snake, invented by Rubik. I always remember that was really cool with the snake with its knees crossed, sitting on the two cubes. I thought that was really, really nice, that. I imagine these books are probably pretty scarce, you know. They're all like 30 plus years old now. 1981. And the last book I've got is an official Ideal one. And it's the Ideal Solution. And this is from the actual manufacturer. I wonder how much this was. It's not actually printed. Priced, rather. 1981. And this is how they say that you should do it. Looks more like a guide for building some IKEA furniture to me, rather than an actual well-written solution. I guess if people wrote in, maybe they sent those out saying, look, your puzzle's not solvable. And they said, well, yes, it is. You're just going to follow these instructions, maybe. So that's that. Now I've got a few more boxed bits to show you as well. So this is like a board game more than anything, and it's Rubik's Race. I seem to remember this was pretty good fun. Oh dear, it's in a bit of a 2 and 8, a bit of a stake. I remember that being all right though. Got the instructions, that's all right. Rubik's Race. A lot of these I would just pick them up at boot sales and jumble sales as the years went by. That one's 1982, that one's dated. Charity shops used to be good for these. So I've got a boxed Rubik's Magic, a bit crushed, but a nice boxed, unused one all the same. Here we are, Rubik's Clock. There we are. So, what state is this one in? Oh, there we are. I don't know if that's complete or not. No. Rubik's Clock. These out of the way. I don't remember this one at all. Rubik's Triamid. Never even heard of that one. I just don't remember that at all. What's a Triamid? Oh, I don't know. I guess he was just looking for the next great puzzle. Rubik's Tangle 2. So not one. So there's already been one. There's now a second Rubik's Tangle, if you can believe it. So that's like rope puzzles. Okay. Then we got Rubik's Dice. Have you ever? So a dice puzzle. They were really going to town on it, weren't they? It's quite heavy, that one. Then we've got just a couple more. For some reason, I'll show you this one. This is Mastermind. Do you remember Mastermind? This one's ended up in my Rubik collection. I do like the old Mastermind sets. This is quite a nice little version of it. Word Mastermind. So nice mint in box one. That's probably why it's ended up in here. And then one last one, if I can grab him. It is Rubik's Challenge. So it's a cube, it's a game. Rubik's Challenge, look at that. Place the pegs on the cube squares of your colour. Twist the cube once, 90 degrees, to break up the opponent's rows as you set up your own. Ah, I see. There we are, look at that. Rubik's Challenge. There's many of them around. Also 1982 by Ideal. And there you are. That's the Rubik Cube collection. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that look at my vintage Rubik Cube collection, which hasn't been out of storage for over 20 years. Certainly there was a few surprises in there. Do let me know if I've got anything that's rare, unusual or expensive. I would like to know after all these years. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, do give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing for future content like this going forward. Thanks once again for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.